Hello everyone and welcome to Sow-Grow-Harvest-Eat. My name's Ross, I'm here with Hugo and we're in our back garden, and I'm here today to talk you through 7 top tips for beginner vegetable gardeners, things I wish that I'd known, and if I'd done them at the time it would have saved me a lot of extra time going forward. So I'll talk you through those tips today and hopefully you'll get a lot from it. If you do like today's content, please do subscribe, please like, please comment, and if you've got any other beginner tips, let me know. So one of the first things to think about really before you sow a single seed, before you plant a single plant, is your compost and your soil. So fundamentally you're feeding what you're going to be eating, so you need to make sure that what you're feeding your plants is as organic and as nutritious as possible, because if you feed your plants well, you're going to eat well, and that's the important thing. So how do you set up your own composting area? It doesn't have to be expensive, it doesn't have to be complicated. So as you can see here, I put a patio down in the garden last year. I kept all these bags. It's not pretty, it's actually hidden behind a fence which is just here, so at the bottom of the garden you don't even see these, but I use these as composting bags and it's perfect. So as with any composting video, and there's some great composting videos out there to watch if you want to know about it, but don't overcomplicate it. It's 2 parts brown, 1 part green. Give it a turn every couple of weeks and keep it watered basically, and that could be, you know, Amazon deliveries, especially during lockdown. Lots of Amazon boxes flying about, lots of cardboard you can use if you're short on brown material. There's always grass in the back garden to use for green material, or you know, trimming of the trees or whatever it might be. So plenty of material for composting. So getting your compost right and starting it early, that is really the rule, is start it early and get composting really quickly, because it will set you in good stead for the next growing season, with also plenty of time.
So tip number 2 is actually a pretty simple one. When you're building your raised beds, put them somewhere where it's going to get plenty of sunshine. As you can see here, we've got about 8 raised beds, which is great. And the sun rises over here and it comes round to the south over the course of the day, and then obviously sets in the west. So really make sure before you put your raised bed somewhere, check the position of the sun, and make sure you're going to get plenty of sunshine.
Tip number 3, make the garden manageable. So I work a 9 to 5:30, like many of you will do at home. Maybe you've got kids, maybe you've got dogs, cats, rabbits, whatever it might be. There's a lot of responsibility in life, and actually time is our biggest challenge quite often. So think about little ways you can make your garden more manageable. So a little bit of netting with some £1 plumbing pipe, and some really quick netting for the strawberries to make sure that the birds don't get the strawberries. Put some basic fencing around all the beds, mainly because of the puppy. I also dug a little trench down here, which means that I won't get loads of weeds growing straight up into the bed. So just small things you can do, but really think about how you can configure your garden to reduce the amount of time you spend maintaining it and more time grubbing stuff. So tip number 4. It's all about creating a really good staging area. So creating a manageable garden is important, but it will take some time to build up. It's taken me a couple of years to get it to a place where I'm reducing my admin and maximising my growing time. But actually, another part of maximising what you can grow and how you can grow it is having a really good staging area. So, for example, here I've got a couple of propagation units. These were 30 quid, I think, off Amazon each, so not cheap, but worthwhile spending the money on, because I'll get real value out of these. Just helping germinate things and get plants ready to go. So when the space opens up in the garden, I've got some plants that have already had a month and a half's jump start really. So those are really important. Box for all my pots, trays. Don't look in there, it's messy. Over here I just took an old door from the side gate, a few bricks, put some more bricks on top, and this has created a perfect staging area for me to do some potting. Sow some seeds, got the buckets, got the plant pots, which are most of them are in the greenhouse at the moment, but this is the perfect little staging area. And a staging area is really important actually, because it helps get everything ready to get going in the garden. So really think about your configuration of this. For example, I put these here on purpose because there's a bit of shade from this apple tree, and I don't want my seedlings to get burnt in the midday sun, for example. So that's there for a reason. If it's a generally sunny day or a nice sunny evening where it gets some nice sun, I might move these out into the middle of the garden. But great staging area, really important.
So tip number 5 is another thing that's worth investing in, and that is some really good seed trays. Getting your plants started early, or getting them started before you have to sow them in the ground, helps save you a lot of time. It can be a month or a month and a half. If you've got some plants out in the garden and you've been growing them and you've now harvested the vegetables and the plants are dying away, you want something ready to go in their place straight away. And that's where things like these seed trays, these are some pretty serious ones. This was a Hugh Richards tip actually, a company called Container-Wise, check them out. These are really hardy, deep seed trays which are perfect for brassicas, cauliflower, Brussels sprouts. I grew some of these in here and literally put them out 2 weeks ago, and they work really well. These slightly shallower ones, which are cheap, flexible, you can cut them up into whatever shapes and sizes you want. Again, really cheap, but those are great for salads. So invest in some decent seed trays, you won't regret it.
Tip number 6, pretty simple one really. At least it sounds simple, but in reality it's not, and that is create a plan. In year 1, when you're starting off, an annual plan's a good idea. So work out what space you've got, work out what you can grow and how far apart you can grow it. Obviously that all says on the back of the seed packets, and as you go along, certainly as I've gone along over the last couple of years, I've learned what I should and shouldn't be planting, too close, too far apart, where I can make some more space. But make a plan. I'd just do it in Excel. There's some other great planning tools out there if you want to look into it, but definitely make a plan. Year 1, I'd suggest an annual plan, and then take stock in the winter, and then hit year 2 and think about not just annually but monthly. And again, a good Hugh Richards tip, which I picked up off his channel, was change your mentality maybe in years 2 or 3 to think about, what am I going to be growing month on month? Where am I going to have some space to plant something from the containers that you've got, the seed trays I should say, sorry, and you can just take it straight from your seed trays, put it straight in the ground. And your monthly plan, once you get into that mentality, which I'm starting to do more of this year, you'll get a lot more out of your garden. I'm certainly finding that. So create a plan. That's the next tip. Final tip number 7 for beginner gardeners. So this last one is all about, don't be afraid to experiment. Push yourself, try new things, push yourself outside of your comfort zone and grow something that you know you eat. So for me, it's peanut butter. I eat a lot of peanut butter. I've got 6 peanut plants in here that are doing not great, but I'm learning from it. And once I harvest those in a few months, I'll see if there is even anything there. Maybe there'll be more peanuts than I expected, and I can make one little jar of peanut butter, but I would have learned something from it. A wise man once said, try and do something new every day, something that challenges you, something that you weren't quite sure whether it's possible, but you've tried it and you've learned from it. So you might do that with your work, you might do that with and loads of other stuff, but in the garden it's especially important to try and push yourself and learn new things all the time. At least that's what I found. Peanuts is a good example. There's loads of other stuff you can try and grow. Quinoa I tried to grow, dismal failure, but I learned what not to do for next year. So that's the final tip. So that's my first video. Thanks for joining me. Hopefully you got something from it. Any other top tips, anybody out there that is obviously more experienced than me, wants to put in the comments, leave it, and everybody will check that out as well. So thanks for your time. Like, comment, subscribe, have a look at the site. My wife, who is a fantastic chef, also bakes and cooks the most wonderful things with everything from the garden. So I'll be sure to post some pictures and videos of that on my Instagram as well, and she will be too. So check that out.